Hello class, my name is Josh Caldwell, and today I'm going to talk to you about the Revolutionary War Battle of Thompson's Island. At the time, the Six Nations of the Iroquois Confederation had sided with the British during the Revolutionary War, and they believed that the British were the stronger of the two groups and more likely to preserve their interest by being their allies. What had happened prior to the Battle of Thompson's Island was known as the Wyoming Massacre. In July of 1778, a force of American colonial militiamen met with the British Army, a bunch of Tories, and their Indian allies. Of the 400 militiamen who took part in the battle, only 60 survived. 227 of them would be scalped by Native Americans. So this caused a whole lot of panic along the frontier of what is now Western Pennsylvania. So General Washington appointed General Daniel Brodhead in 1779 to go out and take control of Fort Pitt, which had previously been Fort Duquesne before the 7 Years or French and American War. And he pressured Brodhead to create a diversion to give the British something else to think about on the far west part of the frontier. Now, in August of 1779, Brodhead, with 605 of his men from the 8th Pennsylvania and the 9th Virginia regiments, marched toward the town of Conewago. On their way to Conewago, they surprised an Indian force estimated to be 30 to 40 men near a place that is known as Thompson's Island. Right now it's inside the Allegheny National Forest. That's going to be important in a minute. The Battle of Thompson's Island ensues. It was Lieutenant John Hardin who originally kicked off the ambush. In the actual battle, 3 Americans are wounded, and 5 of the Indians are killed, and several are wounded. Now, where this gets interesting is there might not really have been an actual battle. According to J. Toth, the tribal archaeologist of the Seneca tribe, they weren't a war party. They ambushed a hunting party. The other interesting thing about this battle is nobody's exactly sure where it happened. It may have happened on Thompson's Island. It may have happened near Thompson's Island. On the way back, the colonial army managed to burn 3 different abandoned Indian villages. They destroyed all their standing corn, destroyed their houses, and according to General Brodhead, they took a booty worth $30,000. And this greatly lessened the amount of Indian raids on the frontier after this. They still happened, but it certainly curtailed them. Now, as far as preservation and public history goes, in July of 2014, the Bureau of Historic Preservation received an American Battlefields Protection Program grant from the National Park Services to locate, document, and delineate the boundaries of the actual battle. This is still ongoing. They really haven't found exactly where the battle is yet. And this came about because of a 2007 report to Congress on historic preservation of Revolutionary War sites. Now, what still exists and is easy to find is the Fort Pitt blockhouse. This is the remains of what used to be Fort Pitt. And on January of 2013, the Fort Pitt Society launched a 10-month preservation and restoration project of the blockhouse. And they're looking primarily at its structural integrity and of the walls and of the condition of the timbers. A condition survey was conducted in March of 2011 prior to this by the Southwest Restoration Company of Roanoke, Virginia. And the main concern was the gun loop timbers. And the reason that is a lot of them are original to 1764. They x-rayed the entire building, specifically looking at the gun loop timbers. And they determined that some of the wood was rotting from the exterior. It was in a lot better shape than they expected. So they brought in a company called Allegheny Restoration, and what they did is they injected structural epoxy into the wood to solidify it. Then they stained it back to the color of the other ones and sanded it down so it looks original. Now, they did have to do some replacement of timbers in what's called a Dutchman repair, where they took a new piece and glued it in with wood epoxy and then stained it to match. They didn't exactly use new wood for this. They found a barn in Ohio that dates to 1830. And it was the same type of white oak that they'd used for the original construction of the blockhouse, so it very much matches. The masonry restoration, and they did some French drain work as well. They went and found the materials used to construct the masonry and replicated it, so it's exactly the same. Now, the next question I'm supposed to answer is, would this be a good field trip? And I can tell you very equivocally, it is a good field trip. I actually went on a field trip to the Fort Pitt Blockhouse when I was in grade school. You can actually see how small the defensive portals are. You can see how sturdily the building was built and where it's used to control the three rivers that create Pittsburgh. And it's a really good history lesson for children because it dates back before the colonial period, before the French and Indian Wars, to where Pittsburgh was originally founded by the French. So yes, it's a fantastic field trip. And again, my name is Josh Caldwell. Thank you very much for listening.